Hi, this is Brian Icenhower, and I am here today with Josh Anderson from Nashville, Tennessee. How you doing, Josh?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
You bet, man. Thanks for being with us today. Josh, you have an amazing real estate business. You've got a team of, what, about 15 people now is
Yep,
what you're operating with?
that's right.
About 15 people, quite a few, I think 6 or 7 sales agents. Is that still correct?
Correct.
Good. It's hard to keep up with the amount of business growth and production that you do. You are pretty consistently selling over 250 homes a year in and around Nashville, Tennessee.
That's correct.
Yeah, and here's the part that I want you to talk about today, because typically when people start selling that many homes, I mean, you're basically you're closing a home every business day of the year with that type of production. Usually agents up in that production don't generate such a high percentage of their sales from their sphere of influence, from their SOI database, but a large chunk of yours comes from your SOI, doesn't it?
It does. So over the last couple of years, we've been somewhere between 70 and 75% referral. It's either past client referrals, regular referrals from people in our sphere of influence, or agent referrals.
Yeah, that's just phenomenal. And I'll tell you, and I think a lot of people, the vast majority of the people out there, they envy that business. They want to be that big producing team that also generates business by cultivating their referral base sphere of influence too. That's the envy. And so many of the big teams out there generate, when they get up to your numbers, they're getting so much from online leads and business from people they don't know. And for you to cultivate that group the way you have, tell us about how many people do you consider to be in your sphere of influence, in your database?
Yeah, so we've got about 2,500 to 3,000 people in our SOI piece of our database that we're actively talking to in some capacity on a regular basis. So, and a lot of those are past clients, regular referrals, agent referrals from around the country. So, that, and another big piece of that is also people that are in our database through, from housewarming parties or friends of friends. And that's really how we're marketing to people rather than farming specific neighborhoods or specific areas.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, you're good at it too. And I think one of the things we've talked about is the difference that what sets you apart is your focus on lead follow-up versus lead generation. If you would you elaborate on that for everybody?
Sure. Yeah, it's one of those struggles that I think I've been doing it for long enough. I just assume that people understand it. And I think when we all kind of know what lead generation is, but it's figuring out, setting aside time for lead generation and then setting aside time for actual lead follow-up. I think a lot of agents call somebody 2 or 3 times and, they skim off the top a little bit and say, well, I couldn't get in touch with them. So they just kind of go to an archived file and never really get followed up with in the future. And I kind of harp to the people that work directly with me that, other agents saying, hey, we need to hammer these leads. And it's not just, it's 5, 7, 10 follow-up calls, but it's also, maybe it's calling them from your cell phone, calling them from the office phone. Maybe it's figuring out, what everybody's mode of communication is different. So, if you'd asked me 11 years ago, I'd have told you email. Now that I get as many emails as I do, I'd much rather a phone call or a text message. And so, somebody that works in a corporate environment probably can't necessarily just sit on their cell phone. So maybe it's a text message or an email. There's been people I've called 10 or 12 times, and then I realize I look up one day and I just text them and they get back to me in 30 seconds, and you go, duh, I should have tried all those. So we really are exhausting, phone call first, text message, email, all in the first 5 minutes if we can, or, first 20 minutes, whatever it is, but we're hitting all 3 modes of communication immediately.
Yeah. And that lead follow-up, that's where the real money is. A lot of people will focus so much on lead generation, but they don't either understand or implement what you said, it takes 5, 7, 10 follow-ups with people before you generally get business. Most
Yeah.
just quit on that first try.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, I mean, fortune is in the follow-up, but it's like, you get in touch with people when it's convenient for them, not when it's convenient for you. And so it's all about timing. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And so for a lot of people, they might come to your website and then, they get busy with life. And next thing you know, had all intentions of selling their house in summer of 2015. And now you're in spring of 2017 and they reach back out to you and they go, hey, I know we initially touched base 2 years ago, but now we're to the point where we have to sell. It's not that we just want to sell. So their motivation changes also.
Yeah, and I love, I was just thinking as I was looking at you there, I look at that big board behind you. Look at all that business behind you right now. Does that, I mean, that'll hold you accountable. That's what lead follow-up does right there. When you get all those transactions under your belt, getting ready to close. And
yeah, those are just listing side, but yeah, that keeps me. I get to sit in my office and make my database calls and call my past clients as well, and so it helps me keep up with all of them.
And I think that's the difference. It's the consistency that your team and you put forth. And I love to hear that you're doing it too. I mean, that really sets the tone for leadership, throughout your team. It's that because so many agents out there, they will lead generate and they will try once, but that consistency is what they never stick around long enough with their database. They don't stay in touch for a long enough, consistent enough period of time to really reap the rewards from their database.
Well, and I think that's where the tipping point. I mean, I hear newer agents in my office all the time going, "Hey, I sent out 3 sets of postcards and I didn't get anything from it. It seems like a big waste of money." And I go, postcards are one of those things you probably have to do, 15, 18, 24 times before you really get any traction. And really the traction, I mean, you only need one good listing to justify the cost of all that. But I mean, it really is a low level activity that is being automated.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so one of the keys to staying in contact, which is stomaching contacting your database, right? And a lot of people have this apprehension about staying in contact because they feel like they're always asking their clients for business over and over again, and I just don't want to do that. But with you, you've incorporated in your database contact plan where you systematically stay in touch with your databases, a lot of ways to give to get, where you're giving to your clients, to your past clients, to the people in order to hopefully receive business down the road. And one of the ways you do that is having 5 to 6 client events per year, which I think is phenomenal. I want you to elaborate on those a little bit for us.
Yeah, and real quick before I do that, one of the things you said is, I would agree. People typically, if you call your database 4 or 5 times a year and you ask them if they know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, they are going to quit answering. Yeah. They will. They just flat out will. So we've played around with lots of different little scripts. I mean, one of them is it's easy to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, we just really appreciate you as a client." It's a 10-second phone call. That's it. Not asking for anything. One of them might be asking for business. One of them might say, "Hey, I'm really looking to work with more builders. Do you know anybody that's been building around your neighborhood?" Or it might be, "Hey, we're having a client event and we've kind of narrowed it down to this one and that one, and we really value your opinion. And you're one of our best referral sources. We just wanted to get your opinion on what your thoughts are. What would you be more likely to come to, this or that?"
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that is pretty cool. You actually get them involved in what it is.
Well, it tells them you value their opinion, tells them you're still in real estate and you're doing well, and here's what we're planning on doing. Which one would you be more likely to show up for?
So what are you doing? What are these 5 to 6 events? How
Yeah, so of the 6, so typically we do 3 or 4, something along the lines of a happy hour type thing, and then we do a family-friendly, at least one family-friendly event per year. So one year we did, we rented out a movie theater. We had really amazing attendance for that. The one thing I didn't like about it was there's really no interaction with the clients. I mean, once the movie starts, the movie starts.
Yep.
So There wasn't enough for me, so we started doing a pumpkin patch, kind of around October, November timeline, and the kids get to take pumpkins home with them. We give away tickets and food, and they can ride rides and do that type of thing. So it's very family friendly.
Yeah, not too expensive that way either.
No, and then we do one for our referrals, and we do a Titans game or a Preds game where we get 25 or 50 seats, and that's really for our that's usually for our top 50 clients. That could be a combination of top 50, or it could be our top 50 referral sources, things like that. So we're always trying to mix it up. There's always something different going on around Nashville that we try to do an event for. It might be renting out an event venue space or something along those lines.
Right. And see, I think that what a lot of people forget with that is it's not so much the event that generates the business, it's the contacts you're able to make around that event.
That's right.
All the email invites, the social media posts, the social media invites, the direct messages, the text invites, the phone call, personal invites.
Yep.
That's a lot of contacts to stay first in mind with your database, all from you giving.
Yep.
Where you're just giving, not asking for anything, giving, and you kind of buy some street cred. You know what I mean? Like when you give that much, every now and then, if you do ask, it's totally reasonable because you're giving so much.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing that I think is really cool, and this I think is probably something that a lot of people can learn from, is what you do with housewarming parties.
Right.
I think this is phenomenal. It's SOI Database farming, right? Is that the phrase we've coined? Please tell everybody what this is.
Yeah. So, I mean, anytime our clients want, we always offer throughout the process, we're offering them and telling them about a housewarming party. And typically we invite 25, or we allow them to invite as many people as they want, but we typically pay for 25 to 30 people. And it's typically a themed housewarming party. So it's either, kind of a pizza party or a Mexican fiesta type thing, or barbecue or something along those lines, just to keep it simple. We do hard copy invitations as well as a paperless post. The idea behind the invitations that they get in the mail is they're more likely to show up in RSVP, but we also are capturing their friends' contact information. And that's the piece that, for me, I've always said, I understand and get the value of farming a neighborhood. I love selling houses in my own personal neighborhood, but I would rather farm friends of friends than farming a neighborhood and trying to get 2% market share in a 1,200 home neighborhood. So we've always kind of targeted, let's invite people to our housewarming parties, and from there, we'll shake hands and we get face-to-face interaction. We get to bring them koozies and Yeti cups and Anderson Group T-shirts, and a lot of people, not a lot, but occasionally people go, well, my realtor didn't do this for me, or things like that, and it's always kind of fun and refreshing. It's
How much you spending on these things? How much is a housewarming party? What's your budget for one of these?
$250. I mean, they're really not that expensive because 25 people, we pay for beer and water and food. I mean, we're really not spending that much money. And if they want to have 50 people, they just add on, alcohol or additional food or whatever it is. And, it's just one of those things. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of work. And, the first couple, but once you have a checklist, we have an entire housewarming party checklist, kind of like an open house checklist, and it's boom, 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 boom.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I love it. And I mean, you're basically paying $250, right? You get 25 people added to your database that are very close friends of this new past client of yours, right? So now you've got all their contact information, and so they've been invited to you. So you've been touching them. You've been contacting them with emails and mailers or whatnot to invite them, maybe even a phone call. Then you actually meet them at the event, right? So now they've actually got a personal touch from you. While at that personal touch, they can't believe what you guys are doing for their friend as a customer service. When they enter your database, they are getting pounded with your branding and your name. So that these are very strong members of your database, very likely to refer you to someone they know, or use you if they happen to buy or sell real estate soon as well.
Yeah, I always just felt like it was a better use of time and money and bang for your buck as far as quality of a lead, rather than going and buying, let's say, $250 worth of, Zillow leads that buys you, 5 leads or some, 2 leads or whatever it is. I mean, and you have to chase those people down for however long.
Yeah, this is actually coming with, peer social relationships intact, where you're getting a database of people that already know someone who's been very happy with your business, and they've watched you actively providing customer service with something they've never seen done before. This housewarming party afterwards, they see the relationship you have with them and the extra 9 that they go. So that's why I think we call it database farming. You're actually farming your past clients for your clients' databases of their closest people, and then swallowing up those databases and adding them to yours. So it comes with quite a bit of social peer pressure, where you just grow through warm contacts, making them warmer and warmer and warmer, growing your database. Well, it's no wonder you have, 2,500, 3,000 people in your SOI. That's pretty phenomenal. So yeah, and I expect that to keep growing. So yeah, Josh, I mean, I'll tell you, this is amazing stuff. And I love the system that you're doing. And I love how you're always getting in front of people all year long. There's so much giving and activity and not so much money. It's just it's a lot of activity, staying in front of them.
Yeah.
So
we enjoy it.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be pretty fun to work on your real estate team too. There's a lot of parties in there, I noticed,
Hey, work hard, play hard.
That's right. Well, Josh, thank you so much for all the time you spent with the group and all the wisdom and insight, and great luck with the rest of the year, man. Keep it going.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.